Was Bob Nightingale, way back on Friday, I believe, Keefe. We mentioned this at the tail end of our show on Friday, that he had the report that the Red Sox teams around the league were sick of dealing with the Red Sox, and Craig Breslow specifically. He's a hard guy to deal with.
Yeah, that's tough.
Was Nightingale's report.
That's tough.
Not a great book on the GM. However, despite those reports, and despite what I think remains a botched trade deadline by Craig Breslow and company, and it turns out there was an extensive amount of people in the room, according to some reporting by Rob Bradford. We'll get to that coming up. They swept the Astros this weekend.
They did.
And they are just 3 games out in the AL. I think they're only 6 games away from having the best record in baseball, which is crazy.
Yeah, no, what a wild swing that was, because it was disappointing for us on Friday or Thursday afternoon, and for, I think, most fans it was. And I think 2 things can be true. Like, one, it can still be a horrible trade deadline for Craig Breslow. Even that comment by Bob Nightingale kind of reinforces he's not the right guy for this job. If he can't make deals to help your team at the deadline, that was one of the big issues with Chaim Bloom. It's ultimately what got him fired. You need to be able to find ways to improve your team.
Teams have to like our players.
Just bury the guys that you have, I guess, is one approach to it. But also, I think it's fair to say we didn't give Alex Cora and this particular team enough credit, because Alex Cora has had 5 straight tank the second half, get depressed about the trade deadline, get upset, and all of a sudden lose a bunch of games. They've had a losing record in August every year since 2019 was the last time they had a winning record in August. So we were looking at that. We were looking at how is this team going to react to it? And lo and behold, they go out there and they sweep after a dramatic extra inning win on Friday, and then they followed that up with back-to-back wins, 3-0 to start the month, which has normally been their sort of doomsday. That's great, and that is credit to Cora, who we were questioning, and that's credit to this team, which has a lot of new faces, which I think is important to point out. Like, a lot of these bad Augusts didn't have Alex Bregman. I know he didn't pitch, but didn't have Garrett Crochet on the team, didn't have Chapman, didn't have Roman Anthony. Like, there's a lot of new guys, new leadership on this team, and maybe that's one of the reasons for a change.
Well, right, and you made the point. There's no more Rafi Devers. There's no more Kenley Jansen. You want to go back a few years? There's not even any more Xander Bogaerts, who was just moping around like someone shot his dog when they traded Vasquez a couple of years ago. So I think we were right to look at the month of August and say, well, this is another incoming dip for the Red Sox. They stink every August. They did nothing. Cora's going to mope around and pout, and he's going to drag the team down with him. I think we were right to highlight how they've been in August the last few years. Yeah. They're far from out of the woodwork on it. I mean, it's only 3 games.
Yeah, 3-0,
but it's a great start. And that is a good Astros team. I mean, it is. That's not some bum-ass team that they played. They get the Royals starting tonight at Fenway. Royals are playing better. They just won a series against the Blue Jays. So they're playing better. I think they're a 500 team. They're not great, but they're playing better. The Astros are a good team. So who knows how the rest of the month is going to go, but that's as good of a start as you possibly could have gotten off to. You got the walk-off with Anthony on Friday night.
Yep.
On Saturday, you had a pretty lopsided victory, although I guess it got close in there with Buehler getting pulled in the middle of the game. Bullpen kind of sort of held it down. A few tightrope acts in there as well. Chapman had to come on late on Saturday. And then yesterday, you get to Framber Valdez, who had been awesome. Right. I mean, he had been absolutely – hadn't given up, 3 runs in an inning since May. He was on a personal 10-game win streak, and they melted down. He melted down in the 4th inning yesterday.
And then Giolito was insane.
Awesome. Yeah. And so, to me, I look at it and I go, wow, I mean, the Red Sox couldn't have got off to a better start. We might have underestimated them there. I'm with you, though. I think we were right to highlight the trade deadline, and it's almost more infuriating.
Yeah,
they go out there and sweep the Astros because, look, they might be good enough with Steven Matz, who had a good inning on Saturday over the weekend. We haven't seen Dustin May yet. They may be good enough to not really make any moves at the trade deadline or supplement the bullpen and get a 5th starter over here, but not make a big move at the deadline. They might be good enough to make the playoffs. What's unfortunate, Keefe, and what we're finding out is if you really, truly invested in this team, they might be good enough to go compete for a World Series, maybe win a World Series if you really invested in this team.
No, it's right. This does not let Breslow off the hook at all. If anything, I think it puts more of a focus on it because I'm with you. If they get – I think this looks like it could be a playoff team. They're the number 1 wild card team right now, and they are only 3 games back of the Blue Jays for the division. But there's going to be a time where that extra bullpen arm, all those closers that got dealt, you throw somebody into the 7th, 8th inning here, one of those guys maybe bails you out of a jam, or a starter better than Dustin May, Walker Buehler. All due respect to Cooper Criswell, who did have a good start, but like, even if you're confident in Crochet, Giolito, and Bayo, you're going to need another guy. Even in the playoffs, you're going to need another guy. So Breslow still let the team down. It's just a matter of, will the team be good enough, and will they, not fold up, and they'll just I don't know whether they use it as motivation or maybe just talent-wise they're good enough compared to the rest of the league that they're going to be able to win in spite of their bad GM.
So and I agree with all that. The Red Sox are again the hottest team in baseball. Them and the Marlins have each won 5 straight. They're 8-2 out of their last 10.
The Marlins just swept the Yankees.
So right, the Red Sox have leapfrogged the Yankees, and they're only 3 games back of the Blue Jays now in the division. In all of baseball, Keith, this is not an American League number.
Okay. In
all of baseball, they are now up to the 5th best run differential, which is predictive for more wins to come, I would say. Mm-hmm. They're 4th in the big leagues in runs scored. They are 2nd in the AL behind the Yankees, who have been without Judge now for a while. They're only 19 runs out of first place for the most runs scored in baseball. They're 37-21 at Fenway Park. So what's unfortunate is this is a team worth investing in, especially if Alex Cora's back to cheating again, which the Astros got all pissy about on Saturday, right? They freaked out. And that's one of, I would say, many incidents this year at Fenway Park for this team. So I would look at the aggregate there. You can brush aside Hector Neris being pissy with Trevor Story on second base, balking him over to third and yelling at Hudson, the base coach, coming off the field. You can brush aside that as an isolated incident. It's not isolated. They've had a lot of those. So if Cora's back to cheating, and they're back to winning games at Fenway Park, and they're scoring runs, this is a team that was worth investing in, and I'm with you. It's not something we should let them off the hook. Alex Cora illustrated after the game, I believe, yesterday. It might have been Saturday. I think it was after the game yesterday, the sweep of the Astros. He said this team is nothing like the team from the last couple of years. Here's the manager after the game yesterday.
We're much better than the last 2 years. We're healthier. That series against them here a few years ago, we had no pitching. It was Chris, Bearcloth, and somebody else, on that Friday game, and that was the reality of it. Last year, we grinded with them, and then Pax got hurt after the first batter, and then put us in a bad spot for a week, right after that series, and I always look at the seasons, and I hate comparing ourselves to other teams, but the last 2 years, that series put us in a bad spot. And it's a lot different right now. We got a complete team. Guys are playing with an edge now. You can tell. And like I said, this place, it's becoming, it's fun. It's fun again. So we just got to continue. Kansas City is playing good baseball, and we got to show up tomorrow. Tomorrow's August 4th, right? So we got to show up again and try to win a game.
Okay, it is August 4th. He knows the calendar quite well.
Yeah.
So
how about poor Bearclaw catching a stray?
You remember that game, though?
Of course I do.
Okay.
That was an FU to Heim Bloom. So that poor guy had to wear it for like 11 runs or whatever it was. And he even got his name wrong. His name's Kyle Bearclaw.
Bearcloth and somebody else.
He said cloth? Wait, say that again?
He said Bearcloth.
Bearcloth and somebody else.
I was like, I thought he got it right.
Nobody got that dude's name right. Last year they were like Bearclaw, and you're like, no, it's Bearclaw.
No, so but that to me,
you remember we had him? He's like, what chance did we have?
Okay,
like,
but that to me, Cora bringing that up is instructive of how much he used to pout. Like that, he did let that guy wear it. You said it exactly right.
Gross.
To show up, that was Bloom, right? That wasn't Breslow.
That was definitely Bloom.
That was to show up Bloom.
That was like the breaking point.
So but that's an example of how much Cora might be different. Than
you also mentioned Paxton too. It's like Paxton going to sure that screwed us or whatever.
Yep.
And it's like, all right, those are 2 Heim Bloom moves.
So, well, yes and no. Breslow reacquired Paxton last year.
Oh, my bad. You're right. Okay, you're right. But you're right. He brought him in originally. But then, okay. So then he brought him back. So that's a little shot at him.
Look, I just think maybe Cora's in a different place this year because he might believe in the roster more. They have, as you just illustrated, they have Bregman this year. They have Crochet.
Huge. I think Bregman for Cora specifically. We made fun of him for how overboard he went in spring training about how he's like the perfect person, perfect player, perfect everything. But I don't know. That does seem there seems to be a real effect on the other guys on the team, and that's with him missing 40 or 50 games. Like all of that still. He's been great for this team. So I think, and maybe that helps Cora a lot, because rather than looking into the clubhouse to be like, all right, I can't be the one that has every message, and now I need Rafael Devers to deliver it.
Won't do it.
Versus now Alex Bregman, that's pretty night and day.
He couldn't do it. Rafael Devers, who did hit his. I'm sorry. I don't want to get ahead of ourselves.
Save it.
He hit something over the weekend. Stay tuned for the grab bag for your daily Devers update.
Yeah.
I almost spoiled it there.
Good
Keith.
Lord.
Some would say I already did.
Yep.
So when it comes to Alex Cora and his belief in this team, I heard Curtis talking about this morning on the Greg Hill show. He's like, well, there's only a one-game difference between the team this year and a year ago, which is true.
Yeah.
They started the second half better. Wiggy kind of called him on that. Wiggy's like, well, they started out of the All-Star break much better than they did a year ago. True. They are 9-6 this year compared to 6-9. Not so nice.
No.
A year ago. But they're also in a way better spot. They're the top wild card in baseball. We just gave you all in the American League, rather, in that top spot. Last year they were out of the playoffs looking in. Now they're the number one wild card. The American League is down. So they're in a better spot. And Cora just told you in that answer, the team is better off than they were. And his belief level, I think, in this team, and you pointed this out a lot, Keith, is much higher this year than it was in years past, which maybe prevented him from moping, pouting, and checking out like he's done.
Yeah, and it was a little bit easier for those guys, too, to pack up shop. Now, they shouldn't. There's no excuse for it. Like, you're getting paid millions of dollars, and you should finish the season. But not only would they not make moves at the deadline, but they were also a couple games out, and they had a lot of teams around them. So you're like, maybe human nature kind of takes over. Whereas now it's like, even when they did nothing, you need to, like, actively fall out of it because you're in it. Like, you're right now with 50 games to go in the season, you're a playoff team. And so, I don't know, maybe the messaging and just their general attitude is better, but it doesn't mean that you can now – just because they swept the Astros doesn't mean getting Matz in May is a good deadline.
No.
Right? Like, you can say, hey, maybe this team is mentally stronger than we thought that they were. Maybe Cora is not going to just bail on the season this time around, but it doesn't mean that they get a lot of help from Craig Breslow.
Well, and they just proved this weekend they were worth investing in, and Breslow didn't invest.
No.
And so that, to me, is a shame. Now, Bradfo, who we'll talk to on Thursday, I think had a great inside look at the trade deadline. It's up now on the Odyssey app, WEEI. Go check it out. He talked to Sam Kennedy for Baseball Isn't Boring. You can listen to that as well on the Odyssey app, iHeartRadio, TuneIn apps, all those places. Now, I don't feel any better about what happened on Thursday, but there's some good details in this story. He talked to Sam Kennedy about who was in the room. Kennedy was in the room.
All right.
Alex Cora was in the room.
I thought he was going to be at a birthday party.
Well, that's what I thought.
Yeah.
But apparently he was there at Fenway Park.
Good.
Kennedy said it was great to have Alex in the room. We were all there more like cheerleaders, Kennedy said on the Baseball Isn't Boring podcast. Brez and his team are doing the hardcore evaluations and decision-making on which guys to include in packages and which teams to call back and go after aggressively. I'm not so sure they actually did any of that, but that's what Kennedy said. He said, so owners John Henry, Mike Gordon, myself, AC, and Theo, who was in the room adding his perspective as a mentor and as a coach. It was all hands on deck. So they were all in the room?
Yeah, they were all hands on deck. If Theo wasn't there, they might not have gotten Steven Matz.
No chance.
Thank God.
Theo doesn't lean on him and say, wow, you struck out on Joe Ryan. Would you go get Dustin May, for God's sake?
Dustin May.
Imagine without Theo in there what they would have done. I'm actually very disappointed Theo was there for all of this.
He's probably going to get cut by the Dodgers, but we could trade for him right now.
So Henry,
save the day.
Gordon,
the whole squad.
If you're not familiar with Mike Gordon, he's another one of like the Warner-level owners with this team. Again, Theo was in
Warner?
there. No, I guess no Warner according to this.
Huh.
But they were all in there in the room while Breslow was botching the trade deadline, which I just find interesting. I don't really even know what it means.
Maybe they put too much pressure on Breslow, and he's like, I didn't think I was going to be doing this in front of such an audience.
A live audience.
Yeah, I'm a little, I don't know.
Hey, stage fright.
Stage fright.
He needs stage fright. He had to turn his back to everybody to make trades. Guys, he couldn't even let the Netflix cameras in there on the clubhouse.
For the Danny Jansen big trade.
Great point. So maybe with all the heavy hitters there, freaked him out a little bit.
Yeah.
So Bradford continues. What Cora, Kennedy, and other onlookers were witnessing in that scene Thursday was a focus on two names. Joe Ryan.
Oh, hell yeah.
And Sandy Alcantara.
Yeah.
Refresh my memory. They
didn't get either of those.
You sure?
No.
Neither one.
Nope.
They were focused on them.
They were, but they didn't get them.
Okay, he says what the Red Sox thought they might have going for them was that both those organizations seemingly had little interest in major league talent, which is perfect for Breslow and company since they had no intention of including players from their current roster in these deals. So that's it's confirmation. They weren't trading Duran. They weren't probably even trading Meyer, who is hurt, and it sounds like he could miss the rest of the season.
Oh, I know.
But they're not trading anybody off the big league roster.
Yeah.
He says there was also the rare willingness. And I started to feel okay about the way this started. By the end of this sentence or paragraph, I didn't feel great.
Okay.
A rare willingness to include anybody and everybody from the Sox minor league system in deals. Great. They should do that.
Trade them all.
Get uncomfortably aggressive. Peyton Tolley, Joe Stinson Garcia, Franklin Arias. And then Bradford says 2 of the 3 in different combinations were offered up together as part of packages that also included members of the Sox top 10 prospect list.
Why not 3?
Why didn't you include all 3 of them in the same deal? You probably could have had Joe
Honestly,
Ryan.
And I know you and I differ on this. I would have considered Campbell in the Joe Ryan.
So
I would have been like, let's get nuts.
I wouldn't have, but
you know what I'm saying? Like,
you're not alone in that. A lot of people would.
So then you wouldn't have to do like all 3 of those guys. But you get the point. Like, you had enough ammunition from the minor league system to get something done.
So they would have offered Tolle and Garcia, or Tolle and Arias, or Garcia and Arias, but not all 3.
Right.
Why?
I don't know. I don't get that.
So, like, don't tell me you got uncomfortably aggressive if you were only offering 2 of those 3 guys.
The 2 guys that they wanted are under team control. And as like a general manager or even just as a fan, you're like, okay, that makes sense. Like, I get that. But if you're not going to get those 2 guys, why did you then pivot to bad rentals? Get a good rental. There's good rentals out there.
Well, and
not a ton, but like Merrill Kelly is one that I'll keep highlighting because he went to one of your direct competitors.
Yeah, I referenced this a bunch on Friday. Kylie McDaniel would even tell you the Red Sox wildly overpaid for these bad rentals.
They overpaid for Dustin May and Steven Matz.
James Tibbs III on his rankings was the 7th best prospect to move at the deadline.
And let me tell you, Dustin May, not the 7th best player to move at the deadline.
All you got was Dustin May.
Yeah.
And Steve Matz. What do you think of this next line? In the eyes of some involved, this is again from Bradfo, the proposals had reached a level that even topped the package delivered to secure Garrett Crochet last offseason. So when they say they got uncomfortably aggressive, some within the Red Sox feel like they were offering more for Joe Ryan and or Sandy Alcantara than even the Crochet deal.
I don't buy that because they don't have anybody currently that is a prospect in the minors that reaches the level of Kyle Teal. Kyle Teal is one of the great catching prospects in all of baseball, and he wasn't even the only guy. They included a few other minor leaguers that were ranked pretty high in the Red Sox system. So I don't buy that. Even if you take the top 3 guys off of this team, I don't think that is Teal and the next couple of guys down. But, I mean, maybe some of that is semantics, but guess what? You're trying to win this year, aren't you?
Well, I thought that. I thought that going into the deadline, not so much anymore.
First of all, it's baseball, so you're not guaranteed anything. Like, Garrett Crochet could get hurt, right? So, like, next year, just because he's under contract doesn't mean you definitely have him. But this team is playing really well right now. The American League's kind of down. Are you guaranteed to have Alex Bregman back next year?
Nope.
Are you guaranteed to have Aroldis Chapman back next year? Then, like, what are we doing? Like, why wouldn't you be more aggressive on this one?
You want to feel a little worse about
you know what? Why not?
their lack of aggression?
Yeah, great.
And again, the Red Sox, if it doesn't feel that way, swept the Astros this weekend. But we still don't love the deadline.
Right.
Jeff Passan today gave awards for the trade deadline.
Awards?
Yeah, I forget.
Trade deadline awards?
He had the Red Sox and Cubs linked together. I forget. But
what award they get?
Basically, they both underwhelmed their fan base. Their fan base was steaming mad. I forget exactly what he called it.
Steaming award?
Hang on, I'll get you the exact
name. I'm kind of interested now.
If you really like the awards name,
yeah.
hang on, let me get that.
If you're going to do a segment about awards.
This is Jeff Passan's, what is it? MLB trade deadline rewards. They got the Pittsburgh Pirates Award for frustrated fan base. The Cubs and Red Sox split that. It's not the greatest name.
No.
It's a little wordy.
It is very wordy.
Here's what he wrote.
I would agree, though.
The Red Sox were willing to part with a number of high-end prospects to land right-hander Joe Ryan from the Twins, but that wasn't expressed until the deadline was nearing. I don't know what that means. Does that mean...
That's insane. You waited to the last minute.
Does that mean... Yeah, but he says nearing. What does that mean? Does that mean Thursday? Does that mean Monday? Does that mean 2 weeks leading in it? What does that mean?
Oh, I guess, yeah.
Whatever it was too late. He says they didn't express that until the deadline was nearing, and the Twins were so deep in other talks to disassemble their roster. Whether it was Duran...
they traded everybody.
Whether it was Willie Castro, Correa, etc.
Jax...
the prospect of moving Ryan had lost appeal. They were so deep in other conversations. They're like, oh, you want Joe Ryan now? Well, you should have let us know. We're, knee-deep in a million other trades. We don't have time for that right now. We're running out of time before the deadline. You should have come to us earlier. That's what Jeff Passan.
Yeah, that is embarrassing. And it's also, if you're Breslow, how are you not more ready for this deadline than a year ago? If this was his first deadline, it would still be annoying. But
I thought he would have been. He obviously
wasn't.
wasn't. He obviously wasn't.